There are places in the world so surreal that they seem to exist beyond the familiar rules of reality. Nature shows us the same planet, operating under completely different principles, from the Tree of Earth in Tibet, where the ground splits open like a giant tree rising from the plateau, to the meeting of waters in Brazil, where two rivers flow side by side without mixing. And at Niagara Falls in the United States, millions of tons of water plunge endlessly, creating one of the most powerful and impressive waterfalls on Earth. Many places like these remain remote and little known, hidden far beyond common travel routes. And now, join us as we explore Impossible World, where the most unbelievably surreal places on Earth begin to reveal themselves. Tree of Earth is an invisible geological formation located on the Tibetan Plateau, commonly described as a natural structure resembling a massive tree spread across the ground's surface. When observed directly on site, the surface appears as dry, cracked soil and abandoned channels. But from a satellite perspective, the entire structure emerges with branching patterns resembling roots, trunk, and limbs. The coloration of these soil branches varies with mineral content in the sediment, most commonly iron oxides and mineral muds, producing dark brown, reddish, or gray tones. On the ground, you can walk across the apparent canopy and trunk without perceiving the overall form of the structure. Geologically, it consists of ancient riverbeds and drainage channels eroded over thousands of years, organizing themselves into a natural fractal branching system without human intervention. After each snowmelt season, surface runoff reshapes the channels, allowing the structure to alter its form or develop new branches over time. Known as the Stone Wall of the Arctic Ocean, the Lofoten Islands are the only place on Earth where deep blue beaches exist within the direct influence zone of the Arctic Circle. The archipelago is built from ancient granite and gneiss formations, approximately 3 billion years old, shaped by repeated glacial periods into sharp peaks rising nearly 3,300 feet straight out of the ocean. For more than 1,700 hours each year, the region experiences either continuous daylight or continuous darkness, effectively erasing the conventional boundary between day and night. Human structures here include facilities positioned directly along the shoreline, including a football stadium built on a narrow rocky outcrop surrounded by large-scale cod drying racks. In these conditions, locals continue the tradition of hanging cod on towering wooden frames to air dry naturally before grinding it into protein powder or exporting it as soup ingredients to international markets. Hidden deep in the arid southern deserts of Peru, Palpa is considered the oldest archaeological sanctuary in South America, with a massive geoglyph system dating back over 2,000 years, older than the legendary Nazca lines. The figures were created by scraping away the oxidized dark stones on the surface to reveal the bright white sand beneath, producing a stark contrast between the two layers. Unlike Nazca, the Palpa geoglyphs are etched directly onto steep hillsides and mountaintops, flattened like modern airstrips. Over 1,600 lines and figures, including massive humanoid shapes, span hundreds of square miles and continue to puzzle archaeologists about the construction capabilities of prehistoric civilizations. Some figures feature large round eyes and radiating beams from their heads, leading to theories that they depict aerial observers or extraterrestrial entities. Located on the border between the United States and Canada, Niagara Falls is not only a natural landmark, but also the highest flow waterfall system in North America. During peak periods, water discharge exceeds about 5.9 million cubic feet per minute, concentrated through a closely connected series of falls. The waterfall system formed after the last ice age when melting glaciers released massive water flow, shaping a horseshoe-shaped cliff where water converges and exerts extreme pressure on the bedrock below. Due to continuous erosion, the waterfall edge gradually retreats upstream over time, causing slow but measurable changes in regional landform geometry. Each year, millions of fish are carried over the falls, with most surviving because a thick cushion of air bubbles forms at the base and reduces impact forces. Strong erosion also dissolves roughly 66 tons of minerals per minute into the water, contributing to the turquoise coloration commonly observed at the site. Kelimutu is a volcanic mountain where 3 crater lakes exist with watercolors that change over time due to different geochemical processes. Located at an elevation of more than 5,200 feet on Flores Island in Indonesia, the 3 lakes lie close together and are separated only by narrow rock ridges while operating within independent hydrothermal systems. The watercolor of each lake is not fixed and can shift independently from green or blue to dark red, brown, or black as dissolved mineral concentrations change. Vent openings at the lake bottoms continuously release sulfur and heavy metals into the water, creating distinct chemical compositions among adjacent lakes. The terrain surrounding the crater appears dry and gray due to sulfur influence, while nearby, forested areas continue normal vegetation growth. The image of these 3 crater lakes was once featured on the 5,000 rupiah banknote as a National Geographic symbol of Indonesia. Varanasi, known as the spiritual capital of India, is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in human history, with evidence of settlement dating back about 3,000 years. The entire urban space is organized along the Ganges River through an extensive system of stone ghats that function as both daily infrastructure and ritual platforms. In Hindu belief, dying and being cremated in this city is thought to grant moksha, meaning liberation from the cycle of rebirth. Each day, thousands of bodies are brought to riverside cremation grounds where fires are maintained continuously to perform religious rites. Behind the ghats lies a dense network of narrow and winding alleys, forming a high-density urban structure that has remained largely unchanged for centuries. Along the same stretch of river, you can observe ritual bathing, priestly prayers, and cremation fires occurring simultaneously within a shared space. Mount Bromo is an active volcano in Indonesia, known for sunrise conditions shaped by volcanic ash, sulfur gases, and high-altitude atmospheric effects. The volcano sits inside a vast caldera called the Sea of Sand, where volcanic ash and fine debris form a barren basin resembling a natural extraterrestrial surface. White sulfur smoke rises continuously from the crater, indicating persistent geothermal and magmatic activity beneath the surface. Access to the crater does not require technical climbing, as a staircase of 250 steps leads directly from the base to the rim. Each year, the Tengger community performs the Yajna Kasada ceremony, throwing offerings such as fruit, food, and livestock into the active crater. The ritual represents a long-standing cultural adaptation to living alongside an active volcanic system. The meeting of waters in Manaus, Brazil is known as the meeting of two worlds, where the Rio Negro and Solimões rivers join without mixing, forming the longest and most distinct natural boundary on Earth. This phenomenon results from the contrast between the dark, highly acidic Rio Negro and the muddy yellow Solimões, which carries sediment from the Andes Mountains. This point marks the beginning of the Amazon River, where the water volume discharged is 12 times greater than the combined flow of the world's 3 largest waterfalls. Each side supports a separate ecosystem. The black water is mosquito-free due to its acidity, while the yellow water provides a rich habitat for Amazonian predators. The Solimões flows at around 2 to 4 miles per hour, about 2 to 3 times faster than the slower-moving Rio Negro, which flows at just over 1 mile per hour. Boat passengers can feel the difference in climate by stretching out their arms, where one side of the vessel can be 82 degrees Fahrenheit, while the other is as cold as 72 degrees. Chicham Bridge is currently the highest bridge on the Asian continent, surpassing many other extreme bridge structures in Tibet and Nepal. The bridge was inaugurated in 2017 after nearly 15 years of construction, for a span measuring about 374 feet due to harsh weather, inaccessible terrain, and a location at an elevation of approximately 13,600 feet above sea level. The bridge crosses a deep canyon and serves to connect communities previously separated by rugged terrain, replacing an earlier crossing method that relied on a simple steel cage suspended from cables. During winter, the entire area surrounding the bridge is continuously covered by snow for extended periods. Alberobello, the capital of cone houses in southern Italy, is the only town on Earth built entirely from thousands of limestone structures without binding materials. The defining principle of these buildings is the dry stone construction method, where stone slabs are stacked using gravity and geometry without mortar or cement. On many conical roofs, white lime symbols are painted, including religious, astrological, or ancient belief signs reflecting parallel systems of faith and architecture. The last traditional stone builders, known as Master Trulli, preserve the technique of placing a keystone at the roof peak to control the structural balance of the entire stone mass below. With more than 1,500 structures remaining intact after over 600 years, this system demonstrates passive thermal regulation despite strong external temperature variation. Because each structure is hand-built from naturally irregular stones, no two Trulli houses are exactly identical in size or angle. Paro Taktsang, also known as the Tiger's Nest, is one of Bhutan's most sacred Buddhist monastery complexes, often described as a suspended wonder balanced between reality and legend. The structure clings to a sheer granite cliff at an elevation of about 10,236 feet above sea level, making it a powerful symbol of architectural impossibility. The site consists of 4 main temples and residential structures linked by narrow stone stairways and wooden bridges spanning open voids. Reaching the monastery requires descending and then climbing more than 850 stone steps that wind tightly along the edge of a deep gorge. Kandovan is known as the human beehive village, the only place on Earth where people have continuously lived inside volcanic rock pillars for more than 700 years. The settlement is not built with bricks or mortar, but formed from ancient volcanic eruptions that created massive cone-shaped rock structures known as fairy chimneys. Instead of building upward, residents practiced reverse architecture by carving deep into rock towers, reaching up to 131 feet to create multi-level homes with full amenities. With average wall thicknesses between 6 and 10 feet, these dwellings achieve an almost impossible level of insulation, maintaining comfortable temperatures even during winters as cold as -4 degrees Fahrenheit without electricity. Stelvio Pass, often called the Wall of Hell in the Alps, featuring some of the most surreal switchback road structures ever engineered. The route includes 48 numbered hairpin turns stacked along cliff faces, sloped at 60 degrees, forming a massive geometric maze at an elevation of about 9,045 feet. Oxygen levels here are 30% lower than at sea level, causing engines to lose power, and the human heart to double its rate just to maintain function. The entire route was completed 2 centuries ago using gunpowder and manual labor, marking a feat of classic engineering that conquered the spine of the Alps. During World War I, this became a white battlefield where soldiers lived inside ice tunnels and glacial mummies from the Ice Age still surface after melt cycles. Even in peak summer, visitors can walk through snow corridors up to 33 feet high beneath the sun, where ice walls as tall as a 3-story building remain fully intact. Peggy's Cove is one of Canada's most iconic locations, situated along the eastern coastline of Nova Scotia. The area is best known for the Peggy's Point Lighthouse, commonly referred to as the Peggy's Cove Lighthouse, built directly on granite bedrock at the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. The surrounding landscape consists of broad, smooth granite slabs with a pale grey surface, shaped by long-term exposure to wind and ocean erosion. Even under calm weather conditions, large rogue waves can appear suddenly and sweep across the coastal rocks, creating significant danger near the shoreline. The immediate coastal zone contains almost no tall trees or dense vegetation, leaving the entire shoreline fully exposed to the open ocean. Inside the lighthouse, a seasonal post office once operated, where you can send mail stamped with a lighthouse-themed postmark unique to Peggy's Cove. Arashiyama Bamboo Grove is a well-known bamboo forest in Kyoto, Japan, defined by an unusually dense vertical landscape formed entirely by bamboo growth. The bamboo stalks here can reach heights of nearly 100 feet, while maintaining a thickness comparable to a human wrist, creating a uniform, natural column structure. Bamboo in this area grows at an exceptional rate, with new shoots capable of extending more than 3 feet within 24 hours, producing visible changes in the forest over short periods. Dense bamboo canopies create a distinctive optical condition as sunlight filters through layered leaves, generating a consistent green light environment inside the grove. The sound of wind moving through bamboo trunks and leaves has been officially listed by Japan's Ministry of the Environment among the 100 soundscapes designated for preservation. Bamboo harvested from this region was historically used by Thomas Edison in the development of early electric light bulb filaments due to its durability and heat resistance. Giant's Causeway is a natural landmark in Ireland, known for roughly 40,000 tightly interlocking basalt columns, most of them hexagonal in shape, formed by ancient volcanic activity. Some clusters of columns rise to heights of nearly 40 feet, stacked in vertical formations resembling a natural stone structure. The entire formation developed around 60 million years ago when molten lava encountered cold seawater and cooled rapidly. As the lava contracted during cooling, it fractured evenly, producing straight columns with highly regular geometric patterns. The name Giant's Causeway is linked to a legend describing a stone path built by a giant to cross the sea to Scotland, reflecting early interpretations of the site's unusual geology. The Nicopolis Aqueduct in Turkey is an ancient Roman water supply system designed to maintain reliable flow across challenging terrain and climate. The structure consists of massive stone arches assembled from tens of thousands of limestone blocks, weighing several tons each, built without steel reinforcement and rising dozens of feet to span deep valleys. The system extends for approximately 31 miles and was capable of supplying water to more than 150,000 residents of the ancient city. Construction was carried out entirely by manual labor, demonstrating advanced organization and engineering practices of the Roman Empire. The Terracotta Army is considered the eighth wonder of the world, a massive underground military force built to guard the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unify China. The complex includes more than 8,000 life-size statues of soldiers, horses, and chariots, with no two faces alike, each sculpted in clay with individual expressions like fingerprints. To complete the project, around 700,000 laborers worked continuously for 40 years, creating a complex 78 times larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. The statues carried real bronze weapons such as swords, spears, and crossbows, many of which remain sharp after more than 2,000 years. When excavated in 1974, the warriors were covered in bright red, pink, and purple paint, but the colors vanished within 15 seconds of exposure to modern air. The Uffington White Horse is a massive geoglyph carved directly into a hillside in Oxfordshire, recognized as the oldest and most mysterious astronomical ground figure still surviving in the United Kingdom. The figure was not painted, but created through trenches more than 3 feet deep, filled with white chalk, forming an abstract shape measuring about 360 feet in length with minimalist lines. For over 3,000 years, more than 150 human generations have continuously removed grass by hand and added fresh chalk to prevent the figure from being erased by nature. When viewed from close range, the horse is nearly invisible, as the artwork is designed to be fully perceived only from the sky. In 2024, archaeologists confirmed the figure had shrunk by roughly 40% due to soil and grass encroachment, prompting a large-scale restoration effort. Valle de las Animas in Bolivia is often described as the cemetery of petrified souls, a natural landscape that feels unreal and difficult to comprehend at first glance. The name Valley of the Souls comes from wind flowing through narrow rock gaps, producing echoing howls that resemble distant cries across the open terrain. What seems impossible is that these formations were not created by volcanic activity, but are remnants of ancient glacial rivers that melted millions of years ago, leaving behind a vast stone labyrinth rising into the sky. At an elevation of about 13,100 feet above sea level, some of the needle-like rock spires reach heights of up to 650 feet, comparable to a 60-story skyscraper. The entire valley is dominated by thousands of tightly packed stone columns, forming a natural field of spikes that no human architecture can replicate. As daylight shifts, the rock surfaces change color, and at sunset, the entire maze turns deep red, creating a scene often described as extraterrestrial. The Aletsch Glacier is not just a mass of ice, but an eternal white ocean, holding the record as the largest and longest glacier in the entire Alps. Stretching more than 14 miles, this massive body contains around 27 billion tons of ancient ice, forming a giant silver highway visible even from outer space. Two parallel dark moraines run the length of the glacier, making it appear like alien infrastructure etched into the snowy landscape. Its central ice thickness reaches nearly 3,000 feet, an unbelievable depth capable of burying three of the world's tallest skyscrapers stacked together. Tragically, the glacier is retreating by about 160 feet every year due to climate change, and it may nearly vanish by the end of this century. In chilling moments of the past, it has returned perfectly preserved bodies of missing mountaineers, like a haunting time machine, frozen for nearly 100 years. Sendangile is described as a sacred lifeline flowing from the heart of Mount Rinjani, one of the most active volcanoes along the Pacific Ring of Fire. The water here remains cold and clear, emerging directly from a volcanic geological system beneath the surface. According to local tradition, the name Sendang Gil is linked to a story about a lion believed to be mad that once disturbed villagers before disappearing into the waterfall. The waterfall has a distinct two-tier structure, with the upper flow crashing into a natural rock basin before descending to the lower level. Because of the strong water discharge, dense mist constantly forms at the base, and under suitable light conditions, small rainbow effects can be observed near ground level. The surrounding area consists of dense forest with large trees showing exposed roots, and most rock surfaces and trunks are covered by thick layers of moss sustained by continuous moisture. Wayag is the crown jewel of the Raja Ampat archipelago, renowned as the most surreal and biodiverse marine paradise on the planet. This region consists of hundreds of limestone islands rising from deep ocean waters, with their bases eroded into impossible shapes that appear to float above the sea. Though occupying only a small area, Wayag is home to over 75% of all known coral species, making it a one-of-a-kind global marine biodiversity center. It is also the only place on Earth where walking sharks are found, and where people can stroll among baby black-tip sharks near the shore without any protective gear. Wayag has no cell signal, no internet, and exists in total isolation, like a 0 point in time where visitors feel transported back to a prehistoric world. To view this coral kingdom from above, travelers must climb razor-sharp limestone spires bare-handed, turning the ascent into a true expedition across nature's vertical blades. The Bamiyan Buddha's site once contained the two largest standing Buddha statues carved directly into a cliff face, and the area became a symbol of interaction between ancient Greek art and Buddhism along the Silk Road. The statues were carved into sandstone rock in the 6th century, with surfaces covered not by bare stone, but by a mixture of mud, straw, and plaster, reinforced by a wooden framework anchored deep into the mountain to support projecting elements. Surrounding the statue niches is a system of steep sandstone cliffs containing hundreds of hand-carved caves that once served as monastic living and meditation spaces for large communities of monks. Creating the statues on near-vertical rock faces required ancient craftsmen to build complex scaffolding systems and work while suspended from the mountain above. After the statues were destroyed in 2001, the massive empty niches remained intact and became physical evidence of the loss of a major part of human cultural heritage. Located in the arid basalt plateau of Israel, al-Hiri is known as the Stonehenge of the Middle East, a prehistoric stone labyrinth with concentric geometry that defies all conventional understanding of ancient engineering. The structure includes over 42,000 black basalt stones arranged in 5 massive concentric circles, with walls reaching up to 8 feet high, surrounding a central burial mound that remains entirely empty. From ground level, the entire pattern appears shapeless and nearly invisible, suggesting it may have been designed for observers from the sky thousands of years ago. According to legend, it is the remnant of the Nephilim, the biblical race of giants, since no one can explain how an ancient tribe in such a harsh, dry environment could transport over 80 million pounds of basalt to build a hollow tomb. Al-Haram Mosque is not only the spiritual center of the Islamic world, but also the most expensive megastructure on Earth, with total investment exceeding $100 billion. Located in a barren granite valley where temperatures reach 122 degrees Fahrenheit, the entire complex is paved with Thasos marble that cools the surface without any electrical system. Engineered as a massive expandable city, the site can increase its capacity from a few thousand to 4 million people during major religious events. Every second, millions of people from across continents move non-stop around the Black Stone, a primeval meteorite, forming an artificial vortex visible from satellite. Nicknamed the Miracle in the Fire Bowl, Dubai Miracle Garden is the largest man-made floral ecosystem on Earth, home to a Guinness World Record-holding Airbus 380, covered with over 500,000 fresh flowers. To survive in conditions hot enough to incinerate plant tissue, engineers installed an underground drip irrigation system that delivers 750,000 liters of recycled wastewater daily to cool plant roots in 122 degrees Fahrenheit heat. When summer arrives, the entire garden is dismantled to avoid irreversible damage, then rapidly rebuilt with a completely new design in just 60 days. Behind the lush colors are silent garden warriors who tend each flower under near-zero humidity, abrasive sandstorms, and air more suited for scorpions and sand vipers. A Mickey Mouse sculpture standing 59 feet tall, weighing 77,000 pounds, and covered in 100,000 flowers also holds the Guinness record for the tallest topiary structure. Mount Kailash is described in multiple belief systems as the axis of the universe and is regarded as the most sacred mountain on Earth, while also being one of the few high peaks with no recorded human ascent. The mountain has a four-sided pyramidal form with strong symmetry aligned to the east, west, south, and north, making it a shared sacred site for Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Bon. Large concave rock surfaces on its slopes are commonly referred to as time mirrors, in religious texts, where they are described as areas associated with unusual energy concentration around the summit. The geological structure of Mount Kailash consists of horizontal rock layers intersected by vertical weathering lines, which become sharply visible under snow cover and form patterns resembling the swastika symbol. Some widely circulated records mention numerical coincidences in the distances between Mount Kailash, Stonehenge, and the North Pole, treating the mountain as a distinctive geometric reference point. Pilgrims at the site have reported observing accelerated aging, with hair and fingernails appearing to grow within 12 hours at a rate comparable to about 2 weeks in other locations. Tashilhunpo was founded in 1447 by Gendun Drup, the first Dalai Lama, and has since served as the traditional seat of the Panchen Lamas, the second highest authority in the Tibetan Buddhist system after the Dalai Lama. The name Tashilhunpo in the Tibetan language means all auspiciousness and blessings are gathered here, often summarized as the Mountain of Bliss. The monastery complex is built directly against a rocky mountainside and expands into a large architectural structure containing more than 3,600 rooms and multiple gold-covered roofs. One of its most unusual structures is a white stone wall comparable in height to a 9-story building, which during major festivals is used as a massive display surface for silk thangka artworks. The monastery houses the world's largest bronze statue of Maitreya Buddha, standing about 86 feet tall and cast using approximately 615 pounds of gold and more than 253,000 pounds of copper. Surrounding the complex is a walking route known as the Kora, where pilgrims circumambulate the monastery while continuously turning prayer wheels as part of their devotional practice. The Grand Canal is a nearly 2.5-mile-long waterway, curving through Venice and functioning as one of the only primary transportation routes in the world without any wheeled vehicles. It is one of the few places where all commerce, transport, and daily movement occur entirely on water, using water buses, water taxis, and traditional gondola boats. Most gondolas on the canal are painted black, not by preference, but due to a rule established in the 16th century to prevent wealthy families from displaying excessive decoration. Along both sides of the canal stand more than 170 buildings, dating from the 13th to the 18th century, representing the urban history and artistic development of the Venetian Republic at its peak. To construct foundations for these structures, builders drove approximately 1.1 million wooden piles into the lagoon floor, creating a city supported above water. The submerged wooden piles did not decay, but were preserved by mineral-rich mud and salt water, becoming hardened and durable over centuries, while only 4 bridges span the entire length of the canal. The Pantheon is one of the best preserved ancient architectural structures in the world, located at the very center of Rome, Italy, and its main structure remains intact to this day. The building was reconstructed under Emperor Hadrian around the year 126 AD and was originally intended as a temple dedicated to all gods in Roman belief. At the top of the dome is a circular opening known as the oculus, measuring about 30 feet in diameter, which serves as the only natural light source for the interior space. During rainfall, water falls directly through the oculus into the building, but does not flood the floor due to a subtly sloped surface combined with concealed drainage channels beneath the marble paving. The front portico is supported by monolithic stone columns about 40 feet tall and weighing roughly 130,000 pounds each, quarried in Egypt and transported via the Nile River and the Mediterranean Sea to Rome. Montserrat is a mountain range with a distinctive shape located in the Catalonia region of Spain, about 31 miles northwest of the city of Barcelona. In the Catalan language, Mont means mountain and Serrat means soar, a name that directly describes the landscape formed by hundreds of serrated rock structures. Instead of sharp peaks, the range consists of numerous massive limestone formations that are rounded, vertically oriented, and spatially separated from one another. These rock masses originated from ancient river sediments, later compressed into conglomerate stone, and shaped by prolonged erosion from wind, rain, and ice, over millions of years. The famous Black Madonna statue in the area appears dark due to chemical reactions between old protective coatings and candle smoke accumulated over centuries rather than applied pigment. Although the surface appears dry and grey from a distance, the rock crevices of Montserrat support more than 1,200 plant species adapted to limited soil conditions.